So yeah, I wanted to tell a bit about the Norwegian chapter, which I've been very happy to have the time to do so. We are well, yeah. I'll come back to that. But so I'm the general manager of. I'm sure this one you all know. This kind of conduct. This is the current organization we have in Norway. So I am the chief executive officer. Have been so in buildingSMART Norway for a little over 2 years now. So started just as the whole pandemic came. And we basically been, I think, as most of you, been kind of a shutdown for almost 2 years. But everything is opening up now, which I think is good. I'm currently at a conference here in Norway, which is then, I think it's good that things are opening up and we can finally meet again. Of course, in buildingSMART International, but also here in Norway. So this is a conference on digitization in the construction industry. So it's always nice to meet people, and always nice to meet people, and yeah, getting out. I guess the physical meetings is often where much happens. So Chiholau is our Chief Technical Officer. I'm sure many of you have met him. He has resigned from his position, so we are having discussions now on whether or not we will be replacing the Chief Technical Officer role as it is now, or if we will do that a bit differently. I'll come back to the reasons why. Alessia Bellini is our Chief Sustainability Officer, and she is also responsible for our community. Alessia is, besides working 30% with us, she is also doing a PhD on sustainability and innovation and circular economy in the construction industry. So she just started that August last year, and will be finishing then in 3 years, I guess, if everything goes to plan, and then she will be coming back, working with us 100%. Torkil is our newest addition to the team. He is has a marketing background, and he actually comes straight from the university, and he has been with us now since June last year, and is focusing heavily on communication, as we see that's important for our members and also important for buildingSMART the organization as of now, to kind of be more active in social media and in media in general, at conferences like we are today. So it was important for us to have more dedicated knowledge and capacity within communication. Me myself, I'm a civil engineer or a construction design. I have a master's in construction design. She has a bachelor in information technology. Alessia has a bachelor in architecture and 2 master degrees within project management. So none of us know too much about marketing, even though we understand the basics. So it was important for us to have a dedicated resource on that, and we are really happy to have a resource on that. And we also feel that Torkil, even though he's just 25 years, he's a very good match with us, and he brings new ideas. He challenges the way we think, and I think it's always, he doesn't know the construction industry, so he kind of asks all the stupid questions, which some of us are not like asking anymore. So Aidan, I just have one screen now, so I'm not following up on the chat. So please tell me if there is something specific I should.
Sure. I'll let you know, brother.
Yeah. So this is from we did a strategy work, I think, to one year ago. It was presented at our council, our general assembly last year. So I haven't translated all of this into English, but I will do so before sending the presentation to you, Aidan. So we kind of wanted to have a one-page strategy paper where we have our purpose, which is to improve the flow of digital information throughout the life cycle of buildings, facilities, and infrastructure. And the association will work for the development of open standards related to this digitization. Furthermore, the association will work to ensure that these standards are implemented in software and used in the industry and public administration. So this is kind of a new purpose that was introduced actually this year, which is quite similar to the one we have, but it's more generic. The one we had was very specific to building smart standards. Now we are saying that we are working with open standards in general, as we see that there are many things which is also important in combination with building smart standards, like product data templates. We see that within GML, there is a lot of work which needs to be connected to IFC or IFC infrastructure. As GML is very strong in Norway, we need to kind of make those connections. So we have now a bit more open purpose than we had. So we have an organization now, which is then we are working within. Well, yeah, we can concentrate on the focus. So the construction industry in Norway is. Sorry, Aidan, how much time do I have?
Yeah, I could probably go for another 20 minutes till about 20.
Oh, okay. That's a lot of time then. So we saw that we needed to kind of further, even though Norway has come a long way when it comes to implementation of Open BIM and IFC. We felt that we as an organization, in order to have a greater impact, we had to kind of concentrate our focus. As the past years, we have kind of been doing everything. So we thought that, it would make sense for us if we focus on construction builders or construction, those who order the building, and then also the owners, which is kind of the top of the hierarchy, kind of focus on this. Now we are quite strong within the governmental area, but when it comes to private organizations, they are not too involved in building smart and ordering Open BIM. So then the idea is that if we focus on this within this vertical, in this horizontal, we will have then two verticals, and we know that there is a connection between these. A lot of builders are also owners, but to some extent these might also differ. So the next step would then be the contractor. We think is an important focus area, as these are the ones who are actually doing whatever the owners would like to be done. So then we have this where they are placing the demands, and we see that we need to strengthen our focus on contractors. As of now, we just have one contractor as a member in Building Smart, which is Veidekke. And I think for 10 to 15 years ago, we had all the major Norwegian contractors who were members of Building Smart. But one after one, they have dropped out. So we see that we need to strengthen this focus here. And then, of course, the same thing, a lot of contractors are specializing on new buildings or infrastructure, and a lot of them are focusing on rehabilitation or the use of buildings. And then we feel that if we have some kind of focus on this, that will then also flow down to the suppliers or the subcontractors, wholesalers, etc. So the idea is that we will have a higher push. We will concentrate on the top of this hierarchy, and then by having a push towards the top here, we will kind of create a pull. And as we all know, these are actually the ones who are doing all the work, which is then brought back to the top level. So we think that's an organization with our size, at least for now, we need to focus more on this top level, as traditionally we have kind of focused on everything. And if we look into this, I might be able to do that, make that a bit bigger. Now, I'm sure it's easier to see. This kind of describes the connection between value or perceived value, not the profit, but the size, you could say, the size of the company. No, sorry, this is the size of the company. This is the perceived value of digitization, and this is the size of the company. So typically in Norway, we have a lot of small companies within the construction industry. I said this is a bit wrong. This was supposed to say 0 to 5 employees, which is then 85% of the market. And if we go from 5 to 10 employees, we have then another 10%. So if we look into companies which is between 1 and 10 employees, that's actually 95% of the market. And this top level, which I mean we are all I think focusing on, is just 5% of the Norwegian industry. But these are the ones, of course, who is bringing in these major projects. They have this very high income, and they also have a high value, or at least they feel they have a very high value of digitization. I mean, everyone has a high value of digitization, but these companies might be the one who sees the potential. And if we come all the way down here to smaller companies with just 1 or 2 employees, or up to 5, they of course have a small revenue, and they might really not feel that they have a big benefit through using open BIM or BIM in general. So it's important for us to get everyone on board, as this lower level are the ones usually who is subcontractors or producers, etc., for these major companies. So that's why we're thinking also it's good to have a push, to have a focus on this top level, these major companies, and then that will kind of drip down and creating a pull from bottom up. So that is kind of how we have described our focus now, which is, when we presented this to the members, I think it was very good response. But of course, a lot of them felt like architects and engineering companies were a bit skeptic, as they felt that they were left out of this whole thing. But I would say they are kind of the glue sticking everything together. And as of now, architects and engineers are kind of using open BIM as part of their strategy in Norway. So when it comes to focusing on new groups, I mean, they will not be the main focus. So in order to kind of keep pressure on this, we decided to kind of split our organization into our administration into 3 parts. So we are focusing on industry involvement, kind of being on areas like the conference I am today, but also being in media. So this is kind of my area of expertise and work, and that is why we realized at some point it was important to have some good marketing support here. We have our community, which Alessia is managing, where we have a quite good and active community as of now, and we are also then, of course, active within standardization, which Chiholao and also a lot of our members are active. So this is something we need to kind of reconsider now, how we will solve this area, as we know these are important for our members. And then we have Torkil, who is kind of working in the middle here, kind of helping us to tell what the community is doing, to kind of creating some push or involvement from the industry, connecting all of these dots here. So I feel we have a quite good, even though we are a small administration, we have a very good setup now, and we are like accounting and everything we can outsource, we have outsourced. So we try to kind of spend time doing exactly what is our core competences. And then we created some values, and then we looked at this map up here, and we saw that, okay, what values do we in Building Smart have, which is relevant for these groups? And then what we ended up with was 6 core values, or you could say 5. It's innovation, it's signal effect, it's being part of something, showing that I care and I'm a part of something. This signal effect, I'm not sure if that's good translation into English, but at least that's what a direct translation would be. We have our community, which we and we have this samhandling, which is then digital cooperation, yeah. And of course, the last part, which is kind of the foundation of everything, is standardization. And this is then all done in a neutral environment. So this is kind of our values out there. So this is kind of what we are working towards now, to kind of prioritize our initiatives. What we are missing now is the direction. Where are we going? Okay, we have a purpose, we have a focus, we have values, we have an organization, but we're kind of missing the direction. Where are we going? So that is something the board is working on now, and it will be exciting to see where we end up. So a little about BIM in Norway. As of now, IFC is mandatory in all government projects. You cannot attend a Norwegian governmental projects if you do not have capability or knowledge or software or processes which can handle IFC. Of course, if you look at this here again, a lot of these subcontractors might not be having that knowledge, which is something we in buildingSMART might be seeing. How can we improve or raise the awareness and the competence and the knowledge within this lowest level, which is then kind of basically also this lower level. But as of now, it is mandatory in all government projects, which is, of course, we have been working for this. I think we have come quite far when it comes to using OpenBIM, and of course, it's used BCF and other standards as well. But I think IFC has become a trademark in Norway, and everyone is just, I think most people do not use OpenBIM, they just use IFC. Sadly, many are not aware that that is a buildingSMART standard. So that is something we need to communicate more clearly, that IFC, if you want to know about the IFC, work with IFC, buildingSMART is the place to be. Oh, that actually rhymes. Maybe something for you, Aiden, to think about. If you want to work with IFC, buildingSMART is the place to be.
I've just written it down, and luckily it's being recorded. I was just thinking that the article from the AEC magazine, translated in Norway, just gives a really good description of IFC and its history and what it's used for. So take a look at that, because that might be something
definitely
you could, as a material could use.
Definitely. Please send me. I probably have it somewhere, but I'm guessing it's lost in the email somewhere. So please resend it.
I will. Yeah.
An example, and now we have actually projects which do not use paper at all, like the new governmental quarters, which is the. Oh, no, I'm not sharing that one. You can look at it. It's the new. As some of you might be aware, we have this terror incident in where this Norwegian terrorist bombed the whole government quarter. And since then, it has been a huge construction site where basically every governmental building, or every building where the government has their offices, is now being rebuilt. And this is, of course, a very high security area, as and Statsbygg, which is the building, is the owner, and they do not accept paper on the construction site. And the reason for this is that paper is something which can be lost. I mean, one thing is that paper can be outdated, but another thing is that paper can be in our pocket or something and then leave the construction site. And the Norwegian laws are such that if information regarding security, which of course the construction information regarding construction is um, uh, highly protected. You actually need to redesign that part which was lost. So if you lose, for instance, drawings related to the ground structure, you will have to tear the whole building down and rebuild it, which is, of course, not an ideal situation. So they have forbidden papers in general, and it's only, they have a system where only iPads are used, and according to your user, you get access to whatever you will need. And then most is, of course, then directed from the IFC. Everything is auto-generated from the IFC. Someone might need, I mean, you may need lists and drawings, etc. But then everything is generated from a IFC model. So every night they run several of automated processes which split up the IFC model. They updated it, split it up into several different packages, distributed on iPads, so that every morning when the construction worker get back, they pick up their iPad, they log in with their user, and then they will have access to the newest information that they need. You will not get everything because of the project, but you will get what specifically you need to do your work. So as of now, OpenBIM is anchored in most companies' strategies. No major company within the construction industry in Norway does not use OpenBIM. Everything is centered around IFC. Of course, they use Revit, they use ArchiCAD, they use Tekla, they use different softwares, but everything is kind of circling around IFC. So yeah, I think we have come out quite far away in Norway. But then the problem is that since this is happening, it's kind of becoming you don't think about BIM, you don't think about OpenBIM anymore. That's something you just do. We are kind of now in what I would call a midlife crisis. We are 25 years old, and we're seeing now that our strong community is now failing. BIM is, as I said, it's business as usual, and we see that a lot of new arenas are popping up, which is kind of replacing our role. And this is, I mean, we are focusing on IFC, which you guys are also doing, but all these other arenas, they might be focusing on subjects which have some kind of relation to IFC. And when people feel that, you know, IFC, I mean, IFC will never be finished, but I think that, you know, it's good enough, then we see that a lot of other places are replacing us. So we are experiencing loss of members, and as we are mainly a membership income based, we have some serious issue now. So we are looking for, the board is looking for a new business model. We can currently, we are not sustainable through membership fees, and we need more hard values. I mean, buildingSMART has, at least in Norway, had some very soft issues saying that, you know, okay, IFC is important, we need to work for this, we need to work together. This is kind of, this doesn't work anymore. We need to have something specific. When we are talking to potential members, they always ask us, okay, so what do I get, which non-members do not get? And then they mean something specific. So we are kind of, you know, looking into that. What could that proposition be? What could we say that, well, as a member of buildingSMART, you get this. As of, you know, we are open, we want to share with everyone, but we see now that we need to have some kind of you know, kind of a wall or something which you can access information if you pay, if you become a member. Yeah, and we are also looking for the next unifying cause. As I mean, we have been working for implementation of IFC, and we see that, you know, that does not kind of bring people together the same way as it did. So we are looking for what could be the next step. Could it be building smart data dictionary? Could it be product data templates? Could it be, yeah. So my final point here is that, and I know we kind of discussed that also the last meeting, Aiden, but we are looking for hard values, and whatever Building Smart International can help us with, something we can kind of sell. I mean, we don't sell, but our members would get. That's highly appreciated, because we see now that our members, and professional certification is one of the things we will be looking into. I will be presenting that for our board, and hopefully we will have a decision on implementing that next week, because that's something clearly which is has a value for our members and also has an income model for us. So yeah, that was my last slide. If you feel like it, please subscribe to our newsletter. Of course, it's in Norwegian. We try to be kind of active on LinkedIn, which is of course also in Norwegian. And we have a webinar series, which we call Academic Wednesday, which is in Norwegian. But I mean, some of you might understand Norwegian. We are looking into how we could maybe subtitle this in English, but currently we really don't have the resources to do that. So, yeah, feel free to reach out.